It was a lightning strike war, an offensive that in less than a week totally changed the face of the Middle East. On the morning of June the 5th, 1967, Israel launched its army on the ground and in the air to take the Egyptian Sinai Peninsula. It was a preemptive strike as Arab states who'd surrounded Israel had been galvanized by the blockade they'd been imposing for a month on the Israeli port of Eilat. The Six-Day War, though, demonstrating Israel's military superiority on all fronts. Between the 5th and the 10th of June, the Israeli Defense Forces conquering Sinai in the south, the Golan Heights in the north, and the whole West Bank, and even the old city of Jerusalem. Jewish, Muslim and Christian holy places of worship now under Israeli control. It was pretty much a whitewash, still claimed by the authorities today.
The Temple Mount and the Western Wall will forever remain under Israeli sovereignty. The correction of a historical injustice that was achieved by the heroism of our fighters 50 years ago will stand forever.
50 years after the Six-Day War, East Jerusalem still symbolises Israeli determination and political resilience. The politics of colonisation creating tension still so visible today, though perhaps what makes Jerusalem a city with such a unique atmosphere. Cyril Payen revisits Jerusalem for France 24.
Dawn in Jerusalem. The sun starts to make its way across the sky over this ancient and divided city.
See all Jerusalem. Mount of Olives, Mount Scopus. All. This is the city that live inside. You can see this city inside of my heart. Jesus did when he come to Jerusalem, when he entered Jerusalem, he cried. And now all the fighting is not just in Jerusalem, all the world and the Middle East about this area.
Joe comes from one of the oldest Palestinian Christian families in the Old City, and he's been involved in the fight against what he sees as the Israeli occupation from childhood. He took part in 2 intifadas, along with many battles in these narrow streets where he grew up.
They work as security for the settler in the Old City. They give them good money actually. They take the Jew. You know, there is many houses for Jewish people in the Old City, so it's kind of protection. They go with them, they protect them, they go, come to drink coffee maybe. Oh. Yeah.
Joe's years of fighting are now behind him. He's decided to turn his back on violence and insubordination and focus on religion instead.
People afraid sometimes from Christian. Why? For one reason. Because we carry the light. And when you carry the light, the darkness afraid from the light. And when you want to live in this country without faith, the real faith, you cannot continue. Many people, they emigrate because it's tough. I understand them, it's very tough.
In Jerusalem, grievances have been passed down over centuries, creating deep intolerance, which in turn has led to hate. Between the Christians, Jews and Muslims, the city sometimes feels too small to house the 3 major religions who all claim it. Josh Vander is a highly educated former US soldier who was also a member of Sahal, the Israeli Defense Force, several years ago. He decided to bring his wife and 6 children to live here in a settlement in East Jerusalem at the center of an Arab-majority neighborhood.
The government's capitulation is just emboldening our enemies and the radicals on the other side. And this is basically what we've been teaching the Arab population here for 50+ years, that if they create enough havoc, then we'll basically give them whatever they want.
Talk of the government's capitulation and terms like enemies are ideas often used by the religious far right here in Israel.
Unfortunately, what they call the peace process to me is the exact opposite. It's a process that creates strife and war and bloodshed. And we see this over and over again that the more we capitulate, the more we give in, the more more violence that we create. There is an effort to try to wipe that out, and I think unfortunately we're not doing our share in trying to combat that narrative.
Josh has no qualms outlining his radical vision for life in Jerusalem and coexistence with the Palestinians. Despite the ever-increasing security, the attacks and international condemnation, he says he's here to stay.
We're currently the largest Jewish community here on the Mount of Olives. We have 120 families, but there are other neighborhoods like Nof Zion above, which has 95 families, and Kidmat Zion. There are 2 Jewish families down here below. And of course we have the Ir David and Kfar Teimanim, which is down below over there. So we have plenty of Jewish presence here, something which we didn't see a couple decades ago. So we're very excited.
The Damascus Gate is one of the 8 portals into the Old City and is often a scene of tension. Sultan Suleiman Street has witnessed a lot of violence over the years. That's where Ali, the self-proclaimed mayor of this Muslim neighborhood, spends most of his day.
19 years old, 20 years old, they're all around 20.
Afro-Palestinian Ali has spent 17 out of his 66 years in Israeli prisons. Some see him as a terrorist, others as a great figure of the resistance.
When I met the soldiers the first time I saw them, I was really amazed. Most of them blonde, blue eyes, and I said, I don't think they are Jewish. I thought they are Europeans. Then I began to experience what's the meaning of the occupation.
Following the Six-Day War, Ali Jidda participated in terrorist actions against Israeli civilians.
He's a hero for us. I'm here like other young people to guard him, so that nothing happens to him. We need men like him to guide us.
Because the third Intifada, we have a new generation, young Palestinians, 13, 14, up to 20 years old. This generation, they sit on the internet, on the TV, they look abroad. On the generation of their age, they make comparison. They say, basta, ça suffit, it's enough for them. They can go on living the way they are living in the meantime, the daily humiliation.
For a good number of East Jerusalem's residents, the city's historic troubles are often linked with personal tragedy. Joe, the former militant, continues his stroll through the streets of his childhood, filled with memories of tears and blood.
Yassin family, he lived in this area. He died. The soldier killed him. I forget when, but we get injured together one time. One time I get injured here in Damascus Gate.
This family man knows it was a miracle he survived. No more fistfights and throwing stones in the Christian Quarter for Joe now. He says the balance of power has changed.
Today I saw army more than local people. It's good.
It's the middle of the night. The streets of the old city are almost empty, apart from the frequent military patrols and the cats, the night watchmen of Jerusalem. Tova, an Orthodox Jew, spends her nights walking through these tense, sometimes dangerous neighborhoods for the love of the cat.
I try not to think about it unless I see some older teenage boys sitting in the middle of the night with their smartphones. And, I just keep my eyes open and, I am holding a heavy cage. I suppose I could just throw it at them if I need to. Hi, everybody. Hello. It's very, very good to neuter the males because it's, hello, Erev Tov. I give everyone a smile. If I'm walking past the Arabs, I always extend myself in friendship and friendliness. The moment you start talking about the right of Israel to exist as a Jewish country, that's a very tiny scratch on the surface, and suddenly most of their faces will cloud over. We're just asking for this tiny piece of land that's been promised to us in the Bible that Christianity and Islam is based on.
Several hundred meters away lies the Saint Sepulchre and the tomb of Jesus. Believers say that the corpse of Jesus of Nazareth was brought here after his crucifixion. Joe, the Christian former rebel, often spends his nights here at this sanctuary.
This is my house. This is the only place connect me to this country. Without this place, I am not here. I emigrate, as many Christian people they did. But from this place, I come, I see the hope, and I get the power here. I ask peace for Jerusalem and the people in Jerusalem. And of course, I will mention my brothers, my sisters, my friend, and I pray for my enemy. This is what the Lord asks us to do.
These buildings in the middle of the Muslim neighborhood have been bought up by Jewish organizations for housing settler families. There are now around 200,000 people living under high security in East Jerusalem.
I feel dizzy. I want to vomit because I know pretty well putting the flags is just provoking people around. But I'm not surprised about those settlers. They are the most unhealthy elements, unhealthy for us and unhealthy for the Israelis themselves.
Ali may be ill and relatively old, but he remains an important figure in the neighborhood. Originally from Chad, this pillar of the Afro-Palestinian community says he does not back down from any provocation.
Now you will see.
Yeah.
I will give you a good show now. Look, they are stopping that young Palestinian. This is an Israeli, the guy who is joking. So you can make comparison. Now it's our time to go in.
Where is the cameraman going? Is he Muslim? Is he going to Al-Aqsa?
What do you mean, where is he going? He's my guest. He's coming to my place. What? I don't have the right to have a guest now? Go screw yourself.
The Israeli guards are being extra vigilant because the Afro-Palestinians' home is a former prison and one of the antechambers of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the third most sacred place in Islam and where the last Intifada started.
All of those guys are fourth generation Afro-Palestinians. They are so quiet, so calm now, but once there are clashes, unbelievable. They are very militant. Now, the Israeli society, let's say in general, the majority, are moving more and more to fascism. They are bringing Jews, Africans, Asians from all over the world. But the main issue for them is to get rid of the Palestinians, which I'm quite sure they will never succeed. They will never succeed.
Meanwhile, the Israeli government, under pressure from the far right, seem determined to continue building and settling in East Jerusalem. Thousands more homes for people like Josh Vander.
This is one of the security vehicles which is used to transport children going to school. Unfortunately, you can see how it's full of dents from rocks being thrown at it and paint being strewn at it. Unfortunately, it's attacked on a regular basis. This is government security, which is provided to all the Jewish neighborhoods here.
Armored cars, round-the-clock security. and life spent in a sanitized bunker. That's the price to pay to be a settler.
I'm singing a verse from the Bible that speaks about the putting up guards on the walls of Jerusalem. So it's a beautiful statement of our return home. Having Jewish construction workers building Jerusalem.
This is Josh's dream, along with the community's other 120 families. This small piece of the promised land.
If you spoke to somebody 100 years ago and you were to say to them that there would be an ingathering of the exiles, millions of Jews would be back in the land of Israel, Jerusalem would be a bustling city with almost 1 million people, they would look at you like you're insane. But it's happening, what we consider to be the redemption is happening all around us. We're living in a historic period of time where we believe that Jews have only dreamed about this for 2,000 years, and we have come back home to our ancestral homeland, and we're very excited about being part of the whole process, and we feel very privileged to live here in such a special place and such a special time.
For decades, the issue of settlements in East Jerusalem and elsewhere continues to be one of the main obstacles to relaunching the peace process, a constant source of contention among all those who share this ancient and endlessly disputed city.
Cyril Payen revisiting Jerusalem for France 24. Well, that's all from this week's edition. Don't forget, of course, you can catch it again and all the previous editions as well on our website. That's at france24.com. More news coming up. Thanks for watching.